Hello, my name is Andy Ainsworth, and I'm honored to serve in the counseling capacity at Seattle Christian Counseling. And I work at the Silverdale office across the Puget Sound from our Green Lake main office. I want to share a few thoughts with you today regarding relational intimacy in the context of marriage. And a few ideas of around intimacy and maybe some myths and what it's like to experience aloneness in marriage as opposed to relational intimacy. One of the things I've grown increasingly concerned about in our culture today is how isolated people are in general, and actually how afraid and lonely, painfully lonely people are, and what that leads us to. And there just seems to be a lack of understanding or the absence of education or experiencing relational intimacy as years go by, and aloneness increases as a result, or relational isolation increases as a result. I have a question for you. When you think of the word intimacy, what comes to mind? When you consider thoughts or beliefs about your beliefs about intimacy, what's your understanding through the years? What do you really understand, and what do you really believe about intimacy? There are a lot of different definitions, and a lot of them not too healthy. There are several myths and misconceptions about marriage intimacy that continue to have an impact on our marriages, where people just kind of give up and stop working on the extraordinary gift God has given us in the marriage life, in the marriage lifestyle. I know that we've come to understand. My wife Paulette and I have come to understand how significant the work is to learn how to in a healthy manner give and receive care in a way that enhances our intimacy, and we do that in a very simple way, and we've learned to demonstrate this and work with this with marriages in our counseling practice and our workshops as well. And so we have a very simple definition for marriage intimacy, or intimacy in general for relationships, and it's this: that I know my wife Paulette really well, and we've worked on our relationship, skillfully worked on it, and we hope wisely and discerningly and prayerfully worked on our knowing one another well, so that I know Paulette in her heart, and she knows me in my heart, so that we can authentically and imperfectly care for one another as a lifestyle. Very simple definition for intimacy, and rather pure and simple. And again, I want to repeat, and imperfect, because we know we all make mistakes as we move along in this journey. There are several myths also around relationships and relational intimacy as they apply to marriages, and we see the disillusion of marriage in many areas because of these myths, and many others. This isn't what I'm going to share isn't comprehensive, but you'll get the idea as I share. So here's how about this myth: if a couple has to work at being close, they probably shouldn't be together. The marriage work and counseling and reading and prayer, forgiveness, and a lot of different work that goes into a healthy marriage, imperfectly healthy marriage, is misunderstood. So if I have to work at it, there's a problem. Another myth: intimacy is just a matter of feelings, and if feelings go away, it can end the relationship. I just don't feel like I love him anymore. I don't feel like I love her anymore. And that becomes a chronic pattern of thinking, so therefore this marriage must not be working. It's another myth. Indeed, we have all kinds of different feelings as the years go by. In our 43 plus years together, my wife and I have had a lot of different feelings about each other, and sometimes didn't feel like love. So we need to have a clear understanding about what relational intimacy is, and the myths that can get in the way, like that one. It's not a matter of feelings. So what about intimacy just happens? What about that myth? It's just a matter of chemistry. Man, you just complete me, and we are meant for each other from day one. Until the waves of life and the storms of life come in, and we don't have the chemistry any longer. So then what happens? Where did the chemistry go? So intimacy just happens? I don't think so. Intimacy requires a tremendous amount of intentional work. How about this myth? If someone has trouble being intimate, there's nothing you can do about it. And we beg to differ. There's a lot you can do about it. How about intimacy is just for women? That men don't need it, or shouldn't need it. A real man doesn't need the closeness. We know how to take care of ourselves. So marriage intimacy, a lot of myths, a lot of misunderstanding, and we can do something about it. We believe aloneness, as a result, has perpetuated our culture. Aloneness, synonymous to relational isolation, has really, really hurt people. And people have gone through a lot of years of pain, a lot of years of aloneness, and all kinds of obstacles have gotten in the way in order to experience true intimacy. Relational isolation, relational aloneness has become so lethal that people have learned to take care of themselves in ways that are highly dysfunctional, and only to perpetuate the loneliness or isolation. I know God in the beginning of time with Adam, before sin even happened, God said it's not good for man to be alone. He meant it. And why did he say that? Especially because Adam had the perfect environment. He walked hand in hand with God. He had the perfect spiritual connection. Every physical need was met. He had the largest ranch and farm in the universe. He had no physical needs whatsoever. And yet God still said it's not good for man to be alone. And it remains that today. It's not good for us to be alone. So what does God speak to you about aloneness? Are there concerns that you have in your own life about your own aloneness? We ask a question many times, and that is, and I would ask you to ask yourself this question as I speak, and give it some thought later on in some meditation time and perhaps journaling. And that is, can you remember a time when you felt alone? When you felt relationally isolated, whether it's in marriage, in your teen years, in your preteen years, and you didn't experience the care that you needed? What was that like for you? How did that hurt? What happened with those feelings? Have you learned to experience aloneness through the years and not really receive the care that you've needed? What's been the impact on your soul? And I would suggest you ask that question, and if you're struggling with that, what it's like to really feel alone in life and relationally isolated, and how you don't really know and haven't really experienced true intimacy, then I'd ask you to pick up the phone. Call a friend. Call a counselor. Call a pastor. Call a mentor or a coach. Maybe start allowing yourself to experience an emotional nakedness with these people that you trust in life. I've written an article at Andy A. Seattle Christian at SeattleChristianCounseling.com. It's dated December 16th, and it speaks more to relational isolation and some obstacles, and then maybe that'll enhance your understanding a little bit, and facilitate maybe a step for you to take to contact somebody that you know who cares about you, and so you can be connected, enhance your connection with God, and enhance your connection with your nearest one, your wife or your husband as well. So God bless, and I hope this little piece of wisdom will impact your heart. Have a great day.